Welcome to Movie Insight Global. Today I am going to explain an Indian comedy drama film called Hindi Medium. Spoilers ahead. Watch and enjoy. The movie begins with a beautiful young girl named Mita who walks into the tailor's store with her mother to order a nice dress. She wants to have tailor-made for herself. The tailor and her mother find the dress somewhat revealing for their taste. Fortunately, Raj, the tailor's son, is present and tells her he will make her dress the way she wants it. His father doesn't know much about dresses. Raj is instantly attracted to her. He follows her everywhere and every day. It's more like a being her guardian angel and not being a stalker. Years go by, and Chotu, Raj's employee, tries to sell some merchandise to the ladies on the streets, attempting to lure them into his shop. He manages to grab the attention of two women, but he's not actually able to give them what they want. Later, Raj comes in and works his magic on the ladies. Raj can't complete the sale because someone calls him and he has to go immediately. Raj meets his wife, Mita, on a playground where she's being overprotective with their daughter Pia. They let their daughter with her nanny and they leave together in the car. They take a tour around some nice private schools in order to decide which one to choose for their daughter. Mita wants to admit Pia to a prestigious English medium school in Delhi. Mita decides on Delhi Grammar School, ranked the best in the city, but it requires that students must stay within a 3 kilometers radius of the school. Mita tells Raj they need to get a house within a 3 kilometers radius of the school, but Raj doesn't agree. However, Mita convinces him to move to a house closer to the Delhi Grammar School. Mita throws a party so they can meet their new high society neighbors, but things don't go as planned. People judge Raj's dancing skills as peculiar and Mita is embarrassed by him. The party is also crushed by Kabir and his wife Arti, along with their son Ayan. Judging by the looks on their faces, Kabir is probably an ex-lover of Mita's. The next day, the other kids won't play with Pia on the playground because she doesn't speak English. Getting into the Delhi Grammar School appears to be more difficult than Mita and Raj thought. Raj has to wait in a line consisting of 250 people just to take the application papers. Thankfully, Mita bumps upon Kabir, who hints her to the school's counselor. She will be able to help them. She agrees to help them, but before Pia is admitted by the school, the parents have to pass some tests themselves. She gives them some papers to fill out, but the parents mess it up since they fail to effectively describe their own daughter's character traits. The counselor hints them to a writer, and the writer does the job for them. He describes Pia in words that Raj and Mita find hard to understand. Then they have to go through a series of interviews with the members of the school committee. They do well because the counselor has instructed them on what they should say. No matter what efforts they do, Pia is not accepted by the school due to her parents' low educational level. That's the school's final decision. Raj tries to counterbalance the situation but realizes that bribing won't have any effect on the school's lady principal, Lota. Furthermore, his supposedly powerful friends can't really help him with anything. To make matters worse, Chotu visits Raj and Mita and tells them that his daughter got admitted to Prakriti, which is another private school system. Mita goes into depression. Raj goes back to the counselor the next day and asks her how that happened. His employee's daughter got admitted to a private school, but Pia didn't. The counselor explains that Chotu's daughter got admitted through RTE, the Right to Education quota, which helps children from poor families to be admitted to prestigious schools. But that quota can only include the names of poor children. The counselor says that the Right to Education quota also exists in Delhi Grammar School as well. She also suggests that Raj can apply through the same form and put Pia's name into the quota if he can prove that they are from poor families. But to do so, Raj has to get some fake papers about his fortune. Raj can't get that paper from the governmental services, but a random tea seller tells Raj that he can get the job done. He claims that he has the right connections with the right people and they can get Pia's name into the RTE quota. Raj runs home to tell Mita the good news and give her some hope. Their hopes get destroyed when they see the school's principal on television. A reporter uncovers the scam of rich people pretending to be poor just to get their children admitted to the prestigious school through the RTE quota. The principal says that there is no such thing happening in their school, and if anybody tries to do something like that, they will end up in jail. She mentions that their teachers will visit the parents of the poor children in their homes to inspect if each family is poor for real or just pretending to be poor. Raj meets with his connection and expresses his concerns about the principal's statements, but the man assures him that nothing bad is going to happen to them. He's been doing this process flawlessly for the last 7 years. Raj and Mita lie to everyone and tell them they are going to Europe for vacation. But in reality, they dress like poor people and rent a house in a slum area. So, if Pia's application is reviewed and someone wants to visit their house, they will look like they are extremely poor. Loda calls a male teacher in her office, the one who informed the press about the supposedly fake applications of rich people. Since he has his suspicions, the principal puts him in charge of the applications. He will be the one to visit the applicants and determine if they are really poor or are faking it. The rented house is really small and drives Raj and Mita to whine at each other. They have some special guests in the house as well, mice. The next morning Mita uploads some pictures of them in front of the Eiffel Tower. They faked those pictures with the assistance of a professional photographer who placed them in front of a green screen. In the meantime, Raj is stuck in the toilet because there is no water to clean himself. Luckily, Sham, his neighbor, willing to offer them 2 buckets of water. They become friends and invite him and his family into the house. Seems like these neighbors have also applied to Delhi Grammar School for their own son's admission. While their water savior teaches them the art of calling and killing mosquitoes, someone bangs on their door. They open up and see the teacher who's responsible for the applications control. A lot of neighbors gather around while the teacher inspects the house. He checks Raj's hands and they are soft. He compares them to the hands of another man and they are not even close. The teacher navigates around the house and sees Pia in a room eating pizza. That immediately clicks to him. He also sees some cold bottles of water. He asks them what's going on there. Are they faking it? Raj and Mita fall short of words, however, Sham saves them again. He says that these people don't yet know how to live below their means because they recently got poor. They were rich but recently got poor. He will teach them how to live as the poor people do. Mita and Raj pick upon it and follow the story. The teacher seems convinced and goes away. Mita asks him about his decision, but the teacher hasn't decided yet. The next day, Raj and Mita have to deal with the ugly face of poverty. Mita has to fight with the other women to fill her bucket with water. Tulsi, Sham's wife, will have to teach her to fight for herself but also stay silent when she needs to. At the same time, Sham takes Raj to work with him in a snack production and packaging factory so he can earn some money. But Raj can't do the job and blocks the machines. Plus, he needs too many breaks and the supervisor doesn't like that. They don't pay Raj anything because his performance was the worst ever. Raj and Mita meet in bed at night after a destructive day. Sham has given Raj half of his wage and Tulsi has given Mita half of her food supplies. Those people know how it feels like to go to bed with an empty stomach. Time passes by and people find themselves caught up in the same routine. The teacher returns back to Raj, Mita, Sham, and Tulsi and announces that their children have been admitted to Delhi Grammar School's quota. All of them get excited until the teacher says that there is still some cost. They still have to pay a certain amount of money for their children's activities in the school. The teacher says that they need to give him a final answer right then. Sham and Tulsi panic, but Raj and Mita are calmer because they have that amount of money available. The teacher demands an answer and Raj says they will send their children to Delhi Grammar School. He will find a solution regarding the money. That night Raj pays a visit to the ATM to withdraw some money using his card. Sham catches him in the act and Raj lies to him. He tells him he is stealing money out of the ATM. Sham doesn't let him do it and takes him away. When they reach the road, Sham is hit by a car. Raj wants to call the police, but Sham and the driver work out their own solution. The driver gives Sham some money in exchange for his silence. Raj takes Sham to the hospital and Sham confesses that he intentionally jumped in front of the car to get hit and negotiate some unofficial money arrangements. Furthermore, Sham gives the money to Raj for his daughter. It's time for the lottery to take place in Delhi Grammar School, so 10 kids can be selected to start studying in the school. Pia is lucky enough, but Sham's son not that much. Sham and Tulsi are sad, but they still want to celebrate Pia's admission. Raj and Mita start feeling guilty deep inside. Raj and Mita leave the poor neighborhood and return to their house near the Delhi Grammar School. They can't forgive themselves for what had happened to Sham's family. Raj remembers that Sham jumped in front of a car for his family. They decide to support a public school by donating a generous amount of money, but not just any school. The public school that Sham's son attends. Sham visits the school to thank the principal for what he's done. The principal reveals that he didn't do anything. If it wasn't for the donors, no improvement would have been possible in the school. Sham asks for the donors' address to visit and thank them. Shyam visits Raj, but he is so good-hearted that he doesn't make the connection at first. But eventually, he does. It's unavoidable. Shyam says he's going to do what's fair and right for his son. He visits the school to speak with Principal Lodha, but Pia sees him from a distance and greets him, calling him uncle. Shyam is touched and he can't do what he came to do. He leaves. But now Raj can't stand himself. He sees Principal Lodha in her office and tells her the truth. Unfortunately, Lodha is not willing to do anything about this situation. She just tells him to go to the school theater and attend the annual day function. Raj now pays a visit to the teacher who inspected and approved their application. A great show is going on in the theater. Annual day function does not just consist of children from Delhi Grammar School but also children from the public school who are together demonstrating their special talents. After the show, Raj goes on the podium and gives a speech about what really matters in life as opposed to what is expected to be important by society. He talks about unethical interests as opposed to what real caring seems like. Every child should have a right to proper education. In the last scene, Raj and Mita are finally ready to send their daughter to the public school. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe the channel.